over the centre's ban on the BBC documentary based on the 2002 riots has now reached India's top court. A fresh PIL has been filed by an advocate against the ban on screening of the BBC docuseries. In the petition, ML Sharma has termed the centre's move as malified, arbitrary and unconstitutional. In fact, the plea has also been filed by various political figures, including Member of Parliament of the TMC, Mahua Moitra. In the plea, it has been claimed that there is a constitutional question and the court has to decide whether citizens have the right to see news, facts and reports on the 2002 Gujarat riots or not.
BBC documentary, all the citizens of India have right to know the naked truth. एक कठोर सच जो है BBC ने रिकॉर्ड किया है 2002 में, यूके गवर्नमेंट की इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी ने सारे रिकॉर्ड किए हैं. कोर्ट विल हैव सेड ओनली व्हाट हैव बीन पुट अप बिफोर द कोर्ट. कोर्ट कैन नॉट एक्सटेंड देयर हैंड्स आउट ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोड्यूस्ड बिफोर हिम. In fact, 2002 Riot New Truth Fact has not been brought before the court at all till today. And this is a BBC documentary who disclosed the naked truth before the public.
Now, a separate petition has been filed by senior journalist and Ram advocate Prashant Bhushan, Mahua Moitra and others through senior advocate C.U. Singh. The petition has highlighted the blocking of the documentary as an infringement on the freedom of press. Union Law Minister slammed the PIL and said it's nothing more than an effort to try and waste the top court's time. In fact, this PIL will be heard on the 6th of February. Meanwhile, RSS leader Indresh Kumar and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma also slammed the opposition and questioned whether they needed a foreign power now to overthrow the Prime Minister.
I think why Mahua Moitra and Prashant Bhushan has to rely on a foreign power to take on Prime Minister Modi. Indian people has long back pushed Britishers from this country. So today is somebody is again going to ask for help of British. I mean, that is the same. I mean, country has forgotten British long back. Today we are a bigger economy than British. So who is BBC to teach us?
सच ये है, चंद लोगों का उन्माद ये है भड़काकर देश के अंदर कुछ छात्रों को ऐसे गलत रास्ते पर फेंक दिया गया है जो उनके भविष्य के लिए एक बड़ा संकट खड़ा करता जा रहा है. बीबीसी की ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री इस बात का प्रमाण है कि वह सांप्रदायिक द्वेष फैलाना और मानवता को तार-तार कर रहे हैं. बीबीसी की डॉक्यूमेंट्री यह मानव जाति का घोर अपमान, सत्य का गला घोंटने वाली प्रमाणित हो चुकी है.
Now, the PIL seems to have fueled the opposition's attack against the Modi government. Samajwadi Party leader Abu Azmi raked up the hijab ban, also questioned as to why Kashmir Files wasn't banned. His views also echoed by other opposition parties.
Why the government of India has banned it? World is watching it. The people of India are also watching it. You are challenging the right of the people which has been enshrined into the constitution.
जो लोग इसमें शामिल हैं, जिनको इसमें दिखाया गया है, जिनकी वजह से डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनी है, वो भी इसको देखना चाहते हैं और जो लोग इसमें शामिल नहीं हैं वो भी देखना चाहते हैं. मैं भी देखना चाहता हूं. मैं देखना चाहता हूं कि भारत का नाम कैसे रोशन कर रहे हैं ये लोग. ये उन लोगों को सोचना है जो इसका विरोध कर रहे हैं कि अगर आपको लगता है कि ये काम गलत था तो आपने ये काम किया क्यों.
Now, across colleges, meanwhile, a screening of the documentary against the ban put on it continues. The latest to join the list is the Alia University in West Bengal. The left students there screened the documentary within the college premises. Here's the Times Now report.
We are here at the Alia University Park Circus campus, where it is the second day when the screening is happening of the BBC document on Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
What is the purpose? We think the riot happened in Gujarat in 2002 is still remained unquestioned. And Bilkis Banu and many other women women who have been brutally raped by the Hindu extremists and the RSS is still not getting their justice. That times Chief Minister Narendra Modi is sitting on the chair of Prime Minister, and within 8 years we have seen many mob lynch by the Hindu extremists, but there was not such a strict step by the Prime Minister, and everybody should watch this screen.
Okay, let me take you straight across to the panel joining us now. Karan Verma, author, lawyer Deshratan Nigam, Kapil Madan, lawyer and political analyst, and Shubham Ganguly, political analyst. Deshratan Nigam, as a lawyer yourself, how do you react to the law minister saying that a PIL is just wasting the court's time? People are arguing, well, we have at least recourse of law, right? Why are you stopping us? Why would you criticize that?
Padmaja, in fact, the very same thing has been said by a number of Chief Justices of India. It is not the law minister who has said it for the first time, because PIL is being misused today. PIL, if it takes up a good cause for the people's welfare, it is almost, I think it is most welcome. But time and again, we are seeing frivolous PILs coming in. In fact, huge costs have also been imposed by the courts on such frivolous litigants. Now, let me tell you, it has raised few issues. One, the fundamental rights under Article 19, 1 and 2. The issue with respect to 69A, 1 of the IT Act and Rule 16. What are they claiming? That they have a right to see this under freedom of speech, whereas freedom of speech under Article 19 clearly points out about reasonable restrictions in terms of public order, contempt of court, defamation. These are the grounds. And Government of India under 69A1 has, under the emergency power of Rule 16, have taken this, where if there is an emergent situation, an interim measure can be taken, which then is referred to a committee, which gives a permanent finding. That is the process which is given. Now look at the prayer, which is very important for everybody to know. It says investigate both the parts of BBC documentary. Now, which means reopening the Supreme Court case. Now, the second part is to take action against those responsible for riots, both. And now this action has already been taken. Many people have already been convicted from both the sides. So both the prayers are infructuous. They have no meaning in the eyes of law because it has already been decided by the court, investigated by the court, highest court has given its finding. So all the two prayers are infructuous today.
Answer this, Shubham Ganguly. When the prayer is only infructuous, so is this a public interest litigation or a publicity interest litigation or a political interest litigation? Shubham Ganguly.
Listen, if this wasn't a public interest litigation, then the court would have struck it down and court wouldn't have heard it. It's a prerogative of the court. Now, the BJP uses the court to say that Narendra Modi is innocent, the BJP is innocent, that the Gujarat government at the time was not at fault. The first and foremost thing to say here is that let the people decide. Let the people decide. Let them say what they have to say regarding the documentary. You are not letting it to be screened inside JNU. You are detaining students at Jamia because they screened it.
But sir, answer on the specific charge of Deshratan Nigam, that why are you going to the Supreme Court asking for an action that has been taken? You are saying investigate what has been shown in the documentary. But sir, it has been investigated at multiple levels.
Don't we have the right? Listen, ma'am. Don't we have the right to watch a documentary on a specific incident, a specific massacre that happened on our soil, in our India? We have the right. We are students. We have the right to screen it in our
is not about the right to watch the documentary alone.
Doesn't have the right
you have
to arrest
literally
us, to
gone,
detain us, to suspend us because
sir, the litigation, the PIL asked for an re-investigation. Had you limited it to only your freedom of expression, it's one thing. You are basically saying that, Mr. Chief Justice, help me reinvent the wheel. Let's turn back time 20 years and reinvestigate what has been reinvestigated. Re-jail people who are already in jail. Re-sentence those who are already sentenced.
Because BJP's actions, Narendra Modi's actions reveal that the documentary consists elements. It has elements that they are scared of, that they are afraid of, that they are not willing the public to see, that they are not willing the students to screen. I am proud that I am an alumnus of Presidency University. I am currently a student of Jadavpur University, and we screened it successfully.
Sir, this is neither about your university pride. It is about the logic. It is the logic of going to court.
Of the Central University of Rajasthan, who were detained, who were not allowed, and
Sir, why have you made this about a campus fight? We are all proud of Presidency University, but that's not the point. The point is that you are going to the Supreme Court asking for what? Do you want freedom of speech or do you want a reinvestigation? It is that which is being called a waste of the court's time.
That is entirely the prerogative of the court. The court had said that Narendra Modi is innocent, that the BJP is nirdosh, that the Gujarat government didn't do anything at that time. So why?
So you're agreeing that the court said that?
Rana Ayub after the book Gujarat Files were released. Then what are you afraid of? Why don't you want the people to see it? Let us see it. Now we will decide.
Okay, this is ultimately about freedom of speech, Karan Verma. And as an author yourself, you should be standing with them saying you should go and file a PIA yourself, Karan Verma.
You know, Padmaja, no self-respecting nation or a citizen can allow the screening of a documentary that casts aspersions on the very edifice of our country, the Supreme Court. And Mr. Deshratan Nigam nailed it. The Supreme Court has exonerated the man after a long process. And when you cast aspersions on this,
tickled. Let's quickly find out why. Mr. Ganguly was very tickled by what you said. So quick explanation, Mr. Ganguly.
These were the people who were jumping when Rishi Sunak became the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and now they're saying it's a British ploy to tarnish India. Continue,
I'm not jumping.
Actually, Rishi Sunak has also discredited the BBC documentary pretty much, but anyway, let's go on. Karan Verma, yes.
You know, Padmaja, they suffer from a colonial hangover where they are ready to give a discredited BBC's documentary precedence over what our Honorable Supreme Court has done. So they might be suffering from this colonial hangover. I, as an author, definitely don't suffer from that. So I am definitely not standing with these people who have their priorities completely misplaced. I would definitely urge the BBC to make a documentary on how 35 million Indians were killed by the British Raj, and I'm sure they will be very objective about it, how they manufactured 12 famines and the atrocities they committed. Let's all be ears and eyes for that kind of a documentary. I'm sure BBC will do that and will do that pretty objectively.
And Kapil Madan, as an officer of the court yourself, don't you find it mildly ironic that a group of people has gone to the Supreme Court in favor of a documentary that essentially belies the very findings of that Supreme Court? So you're telling the Supreme Court, milords, please reinvestigate a finding that you yourself have given. Because we don't trust you, we believe BBC. But we will come to you for legal recourse.
Let me give you a very logical explanation of this entire situation. Now, every panelist, who supposedly supports the BJP, though they are trying to make an argument that, this is frivolous, this is propaganda, etc. But none of the panelists, in fact, I've been on, debates on different shows also,
are able to point out which part of the documentary shows anything that is contrary to what has been said by the Honorable Supreme Court. And I would also request your help on it, Padmaja. I would also request your help on it, Padmaja, because I have a very limited point. I agree with Mr. Deshratan Nigamji. There cannot be a reinvestigation on the facts that has been already investigated by the SIT, and the Supreme Court has given, a finding on that. There can't be a reinvestigation. But at the same time,
so then you agree with what the Law Minister is saying, that this is a pointless waste of people's time.
Now, Padmaja, there are two things. One is that the documentary shows anything that has been said contrary.
But Mr. Madan, that is not even the point of the debate today. The point is, what is the intent and the demand of this particular piece of this prayer before the court?
Now, Padmaja, there are two aspects of it. Okay, one, I have not seen the petition. I will rely on Mr. Nigam, what Nigam is saying, and I would expect Mr. Nigam has, stated very fairly that there are 2 or 3 prayers that have been raised. One is that they have sought a permission, they have challenged the order that bans the BBC, and also at the same time they are seeking a reinvestigation. As I as an officer of the court, as a practicing lawyer, I mean, I would agree with Mr. Nigam on the second aspect that there cannot be a reinvestigation. But at the same time,
at least the freedom to screen, Mr. Deshratan Nigam, the court can adjudicate. What's the harm in that?
See, the fact is that is where the question of waste of time comes. As I already pointed out, this is an interim measure to be finally given by, final consideration. There is a committee, and the committee will give its final recommendation. Then, if it says yes, then there is a review of every month, and then the matter continues. The order is still not final. Now, the Supreme Court, under Article 19, 1 and 2, where we talk of freedom of speech, will have to look into 19.2, where there are reasonable restrictions. And those reasonable restrictions are exactly the same, which is given in 69A, 1 of the Information Technology Act. Verbatim copied from there, and therefore it is under that 69(1)A they have taken the action under Rule 16 of the IT Act. So one has to see the whether it falls under those parameters or not.
Okay.
And let me tell one of the panelists who said the Supreme Court has heard the matter. Supreme Court has only listed it, not heard it, because if anything is filed in Supreme Court.
Wants to quickly come in, then I'll bring back Mr. Ganguly to respond to you, Mr. Nigam. Yes.
Padmaja, Kapil asked a pointed question that is there anything in the documentary that is in contradiction with the court's judgment? Let me tell him the documentary says that we still don't know who burnt the Godhra train. However, 11 have been convicted by our courts for the same. So this is a clear contradiction, Kapil, on what our court is saying and what the documentary is saying. This is an answer to what you just raised. So you must understand here, this documentary is contradicting our judicial process. Are you still standing with this documentary? As a law officer, as a practicing counsel, are you still standing with it? I want to know that.
Now that's Karan. That's precisely for the reason you have courts to educate. There is a petition that has been filed, and I'm sure if the government has material basis to substantiate their stand that there exists. I never said that there exists nothing on record. All I said that the government has not given any response, point-wise rebuttal as to which part of the documentary is contrary to what has been said. So that's
what do you think
precisely.
About it?
So I would, Karan, I would not jump to the conclusion
Kapil,
because that's precisely. I don't pass judgments here. That's the jobs of the court, and that is precisely for which we have courts here, and there is a petition filed in the court.
Well,
let the courts adjudicate.
I cannot help but underline the irony of the situation where Kapil Madan, you said, I don't pass judgments, but I will call the same Mr. Modi, who has been given a clean sheet for 2002, a fascist and a murderer, and somebody responsible for the riots. Anyhow, if it is about freedom of speech, by all means, the court should adjudicate on it, because that should be a freedom that shouldn't be impinged upon in our country, which still remains a vibrant, argumentative democracy. We'll be keeping a close watch on what happens on the 6th of February. For the time being, though, thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining me. That's it then from me on this edition of The Nation Wants to Know. I'll see you at 10 on the News Hour.